Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken and Ken take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken and Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploding like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, their foes can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Ken and Ken in the morning. I'm not quite sure where Ken is this morning. I was gone yesterday. I had family in town, so that's why I was gone. I haven't heard from Ken yet this morning. Let's see if there's a message. Please be a message. No message. So the only thing I saw this weekend, of course, was Chicago Bears extended Ryan Poles. Married his contract to that of Ben Johnson. Thought that was a smart move. Second rounders still have yet to sign. Oh, and here comes Ken. There he is. Come on, you can get on. There you go. Oh, there he goes. Good morning, Ken.
Yeah, today's been a fun morning.
Yeah.
There's a toilet out there that might be trying to sue me.
A toilet, huh? Hey,
Yep.
so what did you guys talk about yesterday morning? Because obviously I missed yesterday.
We touched on the poll stuff. We touched on fucking Brock Bowers there getting another fucking top of a list thing. Relatively, that's about it.
So I know that that broke the polls thing broke Friday, Saturday, whatever. We talked about it
Friday.
Sunday.
Yep.
I like it because it marries up his contract to Ben Johnson. So if Ben doesn't work, guess what? They're both gone.
Yeah. My only issue with it is I would have personally preferred to wait to see how it works this year before you extend the guy. But I get the point of tying them together.
So Woody made the point too. They did it early, and I get that argument. I can understand the merits of that argument. And we should wait and see. But okay, if you were going to fire Ben John, or if you're going to fire Poles at the end of the year because let's say it doesn't work, right? Well, that means you're firing Ben Johnson at the end of the year too. So what's the point of waiting? I mean, so I get that argument because we deal with players. Well, let's see, like Brisker. Let's see how he does this year before we give him an extension because of the injury, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I understand that. For Poles, people make the similar argument. Well, we should have seen how it went this year first. Why? Because if you're going to fire him at the end of the season, you're firing Ben Johnson at the end of the season anyways. So now, though,
the only thing that I think it could differ from that is if there was a player personnel problem and Ben Johnson goes to Warren or something and said, hey, I've been trying to get him to get these guys and he just absolutely refuses, or he's forcing me to keep this guy that's not a fit for the team.
But I mean, once again, though, you could fire him at the end of the year for that anyways. So now, though, you don't have that distraction in the building. He's got a contract extension because otherwise all year long we would have heard about his polls and get an extension. His polls, it would have become a thing in the media, and then they'd ask him about it every press conference. And while they say it's not a distraction, it becomes a distraction. So now you don't have that distraction. You've married your GM to your head coach contract-wise. So if it doesn't work, you can get rid of both of them, and I guess you'll get rid of Caleb too at that point, so you can quote unquote do it right and bring in a GM who'll hire his own coach who will then draft his quarterback. I mean, because it's funny. It's like, oh, well, so if it doesn't work with Ben. Oh, well, he didn't get to have his quarterback because Caleb wasn't his quarterback. That'll be the argument, right? And if it's the GM did get to have his coach, which was some of the argument I was kind of using for Poles a little bit because while technically he hired Eberflush, whatever you want to call him, he didn't hire him. You know what I mean? Like he was hired like on a Tuesday, and they said, "Here's a list of 3 guys, pick one to sign tomorrow." Like Poles wasn't a part of the head coach search. He wasn't a part of the interview process. He was given, "Here's 3 guys, pick one," right? So, but this is now Ben Johnson is his guy, is his coach. He did it all. It's all on him. So I get that those arguments that people make, well, it's not his quarterback. It's not his coach. It's not his whatever. Well, this is Poles' quarterback. This is Poles' coach. I don't think Ben Johnson is complaining that Caleb is not his guy. I think Caleb would have been his guy if he was here anyways, he would have drafted Caleb.
Hey, I was going to say that's a little bit of speculation, but just because you don't know, just because you don't know exactly where Ben Johnson wants to go. Because who knows? He could have grown accustomed to the Jared Goff type of quarterback that's more of a pocket guy.
I wouldn't say they do everything backwards, but John, it's funny because Broski kind of said the Bears did things backwards with building this team, right? Like, first you must build the trenches. I'm like, okay. So you build the trenches. You have no quarterback. You have no receivers. You have no running backs. You have no tight end, whatever. You build the trenches, but you have nothing else. So what? You're still losing. My counter to his argument was this. Okay, fine. So you maybe did a little bit backwards by securing your offensive line last. Okay, but who cares? If you win this year, who cares? You still got there. It doesn't matter how you get there, just that you get there. There's no rule book. Oh, well, that's the way you should do it. That's where's it written?
It's because we've seen so many teams have success building from the line out.
Sure. I think that's work.
The general conventional wisdom.
But that's not the argument, though. The argument, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I'm just saying there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to get there. The way the Bears did it, if it works this year, and if you think about it, if it works this year, Ken, honestly, if this offensive line, which was the second worst in the league last year, is in the top 15 this year, that would be a dramatic improvement, would it not? And given the weapons and some of the abilities we've seen of the quarterback for this franchise, that could be also an offense that could explode, and everyone would be like, "Oh my freaking Lord, what the hell?" Where did this come from? That'll kind of be the reaction. How are the Bears putting up 35, 40 points a game if that's let's say it happens because the line's protected with the weaponry they got it, they're dangerous. They can put up points. And also, oh my God. So then at that point, it'll be like, so who cares that you did the line last when you got your receivers, your running back, your tight ends, and your quarterback first? Who cares? You still are going to suffer anyways until you got to that point. You took what you could get at the moment you were building. So at the moment you're building, the best available option to you was to draft the quarterback and the receiver. And then this year, you got the lineman you needed. So who cares how you get there, just that you get there?
I think a lot of it has to do with how many teams we've seen crash and burn that build from the outside in. Take last year's Jets, for example, how they had the offensive line that had the high-priced free agents and all that, and most people had assumed they were going to be one of the best lines in the league, but that didn't gel, and it made everything else crumble around it.
But you have teams who build great lines who can never get that quarterback, who can never get the receiver. When the Bears finally got a good line for Jay Cutler, they couldn't get receivers for a minute. Then they finally got it. And when they finally got it, the defense had fallen to shit. And then the offense was putting up points left and right. And the defense was like Cincinnati. Cutler was having Burrow years, losing games after scoring 32, 35 points, and they would lose. Because why? They had no defense. Yeah, they had a great line, and they finally got the weapons around the line to utilize the line, but the defense went for shit. Uh-oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. I saw the news with Garrett Wilson there yesterday.
Nice.
And holy shit, he's getting paid a hell of a lot of money. It's like $32,500 a year.
Yeah.
for somebody that's one of the best type of receivers. He's
Well,
not the best.
That's just where the league is going now with these receivers and quarterbacks. They're all being high priced. I mean, eventually the market's going to reset, or something's going to change with the cap, because it's not sustainable for that. Like that team, you can't pay your wide receiver that big of a contract and not have a line, right? And that's the thing with the Bears when they did like the DJ Moore contract was not like massively grotesque, right? It left them room to build the line. So I'm not mad with the way the Bears did it. Did they do it differently than some other teams have done it? Sure, but if they get there, they get there. Who cares how they got there? The fact will be that they get there. So I look at this Bears team. If this offensive line works and they win a lot of games and surprise people this year because they put up points, because the offensive line works and they've got the skilled players and a quarterback who we saw flashes of last year that we know can deliver the ball and make good decisions, right? Don't throw interceptions, for example. Then who cares how they got there? So you suffered last year because the O-line wasn't what we expected or what we thought it might be. That's life, man. I don't care if they win this year. The past is forgotten anyways. The 2 or 3 years it took to build it are forgotten. No one will care anymore. No one cares how the Lions built their team after they started winning, or how long, or the pitfalls they had while building it. They just care if they're winning now. Same for the Vikings. Same for the Packers. So
I was going to say there's an old adage of winning fixes everything for a reason.
It does. With the Bears, and then you got to look at the other piece too. With any team that's building, you can only build your team with what's available, tools or what resources are available to add. If you're building your team because you suck, i.e. Carolina back in the day, okay, I need a line, but there aren't linemen for me to grab. So I'm going to grab what I can't with the other ingredients. I'm going to grab the quarterback, the receiver, the defensive end, whatever else it is I need, because it's like when you're baking a cake. So if you take the milk out first, instead of taking the flour out, does that mean you've done it wrong?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's you're mixing them all together. It doesn't matter when you get the ingredients, just that you get them and finally bake that cake, and the cake turns out right. So I'm not mad with how the Bears did it. I think last year they thought their line would be a lot better. I know I did, based on the previous year when they had a good run line, and the pass line was what was, lacking. And they brought in some guys.
That's a nice way to phrase it.
Yeah, and they brought in some guys to correct that, and then unfortunately, by the time you get to week 1 after camp, 2 of them end up on the IR. One's there for almost a whole year. The other one played sparingly, and the offensive line just never got to be. They did improve at the center position last year, right, over the year previous. But in total, the line got worse because they went from one of the best run lines to one of the worst, and they were still one of the worst pass lines. They dropped in rush, and they were still bad at pass, but the line was never what they envisioned the line would be even coming out of camp with the personnel. That's life. It happens, right? People get hurt. You can't predict injury, right? That's the great wild card in all this. And then you can't predict, like you said, like whether or not they gel. So with this new Bears O-line, on paper, you've seen some of these lists. They have the Bears now in the top 5, the top 10, depending which list you look at.
That's why I draw the comparisons to the Jets from last year, because we saw that so much with it, that they were already a night. I even heard some people say that was going to be the best line in football and all this and that, and it was abysmal because none of these guys ever played together.
It's great that people have this thought of the Bears O-line, but I got to see it happen first. We know Tooney's really good. We know Jonah Jackson was really good when he played for Ben Johnson last time. Then he got the big contract to go to L.A., and he had injury issues last year, right? Last year he wasn't healthy. That happens in this league. It doesn't make him injury prone. He had a year where he had injuries with the new club, and it didn't work for whatever reasons. I'm not worried about that. We'll see how he works. And Dahlman, he's a good young center. Can he stay healthy, though? My question about this O-line is this. What's the backup? situation look like? And look, if Ozzie Trapillo is going to be the starting left tackle, I think Braxton Jones is great to be a rotation guy. I mean, look at Braxton Jones would play for a lot of teams in this league as a starter. He was the Bears starter for the last couple of years. He was a more than serviceable left tackle. I know Broski hates him. Oh, he had like 12 penalties last year, a little bit of a regression year. But then again, look what happened to his right. Regression there. When these guys have to cover down for the guy next to him, more penalties happen. They get beat more, right? If there's a weak link, everyone else becomes weaker. He's a guy like Braxton Jones would go to a team that has like a good line already, like 4 other good guys, and you plug him in, and people are like, oh, well, now all of a sudden he's an all-pro. I think he's a good player, but on a shitty line last year. And even Darnell Wright had more penalties last year than the year previous, and he gave up more pressures and sacks than the year previous. It's not because Darnell Wright wasn't good. He was trying to compensate for the guy next to him that wasn't there. You know what I mean? So I think that's at least one good piece for the Bears, that Braxton Jones is going to be on this roster. And if Trapillo is a starter, you've got a guy you got at least one backup covered for the tackles. But when it comes to the center position, what, Kramer? I mean, I don't know if I'm happy with the backup situation at center. At guard, I'm okay. At tackle, I'm fine. I think Braxton Jones could be a starter for some teams, right? But he's a guy who'd get a contract for all other 31 teams, at least as a rotational tackle guy. So I'm good with that, right? But at center, if Dahlman goes down, what's the plan? Cole Kmet? You know what I mean? So that's my only concern about the Bears' O-line as far as injury concern. Well, and keeping them healthy, obviously. But if injury happens, what's the back?
And that's part of the negative of building from the outside in. Because if you build from the line, I was going to say, don't die on me.
One second, I took that sip. A little bit went down the windpipe. And I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm still alive. Yay!
Oh, damn, we got so close. Don't you feel the love?
I know.
No, but that's part of the negative there about building from the outside in as opposed to building from the line out. Is you generally build more depth with the line once you're starting there?
Well, yes or no, because now what happens is, though, too, you can look at the inverse, right? You had guys that were starting, and then when you bring in better guys, those guys who were starting now become the depth, i.e. Braxton Jones situation. So it can work out either way. But once again, if you get there, it doesn't matter how you get there, just that you get there. So, yeah, I mean, what the Bears did maybe wasn't as conventional as some people like Broski may like. And I get it. And look, I know Broski thinks Braxton is trash, and if the Bears come tomorrow, no one would sign him. I think he's wrong. But I mean,
I think he'd make a good backup for most teams.
Well, that's to say he'd start. There are a couple teams that he would start at left tackle. I mean, he was still ranked in the top 20 for left tackles in this league, meaning he was better than at least 12 other left tackles, statistically speaking. So, and if you put him on a better O-line, where the other guy's already better than what he had, he's a better lineman. We see that with linemen all the time when they go to another team, like they were a lineman for a team that sucked, right? The line sucked, and then they go to another team that has other better linemen, and all of a sudden they're good. The Bears have seen this with guys all the time. It happens. I mean, it's the line is one of those deals where the guys around you make you good or bad too.
Yeah, absolutely. I will agree with that part of it.
Yeah, and A-Dub, you're right there too. Free agency can only get you to a certain point. You have to draft, and the Bears have drafted some linemen, and some have panned out better than others so far. But you got to let these guys develop too. Like last year, these guys after Kieran plays that Monday Night Football game, oh my God, we need to get rid of this guy. Dude was a rookie, a third rounder, right? You got to it takes a year or two to develop these guys. You can't take a guy in the fifth round and expect him to be all pro at line. I think that's the other thing. Fans' expectations of draft picks are just way too high. I mean, the draft, even in the first round, is a 50-50 proposition at best, right? We see these guys bust out in the first round all the time, like bust out in a bad way, not like bust out going. They are busts in the first round all the time, but everyone expects these guys when they get drafted first, second, third round that they're going to be immediate impact starters who are going to
I
be
was
all.
going to say that's because that's what you're looking for in the first round. Is you want an impact type of guy, or in the second round you want somebody that's a damn good starter with some flashes. In the third,
They need to build.
a fringe starter.
Yeah, I mean, third round, especially linemen. Like I always go back to the conversation I had with Zach Tom a couple years ago. You know, he's like, look, he said it takes 2 or 3 years to build into a line, to get with the guys that you're playing with and become a good offensive lineman in a system. And he's not wrong. I mean, look at his trajectory. It's exactly what he said when I had that conversation with him. So I mean,
Generally, yeah, I'd agree with that. Besides your obvious top of the draft type
your
of guys.
Darnell Wright guys, you come in like Darnell Wright's one of the look at for first round draft picks. Think about it at the line. Darnell Wright's one of the rare ones. Who was the kid from Northwestern? Was it the year before last? Everyone wanted the kid from Northwestern. They were talking about he was going to go to the top 10. He goes to the Titans. No one's heard jack about him, right? Well, he also had T-Rex arms, but still. I mean, when you look at these offensive lines, what now?
Skoronski.
Yeah, Skoronski. What have you heard about Skoronski? Nothing.
Nothing.
So, like, Darnell Wright's kind of like he's the exception, not the rule. The Bears got lucky with Darnell Wright. He's the exception, not the rule. When it comes to drafting a lineman who has an immediate impact, they're out of every 100 linemen that get drafted in the first 2 rounds, about 20 of them might be good. And maybe about 10 of them are immediate impact. If you're lucky.
So I was going to say it massively depends on your scouting department because apparently I'm trying to die too.
Yeah. Pretty soon it's going to be Joe in the morning. His plan is working.
A little more chicken blood.
I get what you're saying, though, Ken. You're scouting
because
the players.
Look at Green Bay, for example, how they got Rasheed Walker out of the 7th round. And at least in his first year, he was an absolute phenomenal starter. Last year, he took a bit of a step back, but he was still a good one.
I mean, look, scouting departments obviously make a difference at all position groups on a team. And some teams, like the Bears, they've always drafted good linebackers and good running backs, right? That was our thing, right? But I mean, that changes over time. John, Jesus. You know what's funny, John? If Caleb was a Packer, you would love Caleb and you'd be painting your fingernails. I'll call that right now.
I don't know if I go that far with it.
Yeah, I don't know about Trey Hendrickson to the Bears. Like, financially, it doesn't make sense. There's another reason I was happy with the Poles extension, he's been very good about he got us out of cap hell. He's been good about not putting us in cap hell. I think a trade for Trey Hendrickson kind of puts you in cap hell because his money would blow our cap to shreds for the next coming years, for this year, next year. And next year we have no safety signed in Chicago. So if you got Hendrickson, right, you have no money to sign your draft picks or any safeties for next year. So great, you got a pass rush, but you have no safeties on the field, and you can't sign your draft picks. I mean, you have to do some major restructuring across the board of contracts, and now you're playing that game, that tricky game that and I don't know if Hendrickson, like as a player, does he make sense for the Bears? Well, sure. I think he makes sense for any team, right, in this league. He's a good player. But yeah, and TJ Watt to the Lions, now look, they can afford it. Right? If that would ever happen, the Lions could afford TJ Watt. They have $40 million in cap. But the Bears doing Trey Hendrickson, I think that's a pipe. That's a fan-made pipe dream because, and look, it is a sell copy, yeah, because the guy on ESPN or NFL Network can say it, and all the fans are go, oh my god. But the reality of it, when you sit back and you really think about the cap situation, how this team has been built, where this team is at, he doesn't make sense for them. He blows the cap situation to shreds. And now the guys that you are trying to extend for next year or the free agents you might have in mind for next year, you blow that all out of the water. So I don't know if that really works for the Bears. Now look at TJ Watt to the Lions. That'd be massive. But what are the Lions going to give up to get him? Because now he's a free agent, they have to trade.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
the Steelers are going to, I mean, man, it's got to be at least one first round pick and maybe two or more first round picks. I mean, only negated by the fact that they're because I think his contract is going to expire after this year, right?
Yeah.
It's sometime soon because he's looking for an extension.
Yeah, he's got one. It's the new contract year is now the year before your contract's out. So, you know, if he wants an extension, that means he's got at least 1 year left. Now, sometimes they're looking for 2 years out. But I think he's got at least 1 year left. I mean, it'd have to be a big trade. And look at Bill goes, I think Hendrickson would be good on the Packers roster. Hendrickson would be good on any roster. He would be good on any roster. Let's just make that clear. And John says the Bears are going into the season to see where they're at, which I agree with. They're going to see where they're at. And care if Caleb could be the Bears franchise quarterback. Well, once again, not wrong. They do want to see that. This year, I think that the smart thing with the Bears this year is temper your expectations, but potential, this team has it in spades. They have tons of potential, right? A lot of potential, especially if you believe the hype on the offensive line is now a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. If you believe in that hype, this Bears team could be something special. It could be. It has the potential for it. It also has the potential to not be a repeat of last year, because I think a lot of last year falls on coaching as well as the line issues. Let's not forget how bad the coaching situation was in Chicago last year, how dysfunctional the coaching situation was last year in Chicago. I think Chicago, you're looking, 8 to 11, 8 to 10, somewhere in there realistically. But the potential to be a division winner and win 13 games, sure, it's there. I mean, you can't look at the roster of the weaponry you've got and be like, yeah, because look what these guys did last year. Like, look what Swift did last year with the shitty offensive line, 950 yards behind one of the worst rush lines in the NFL. Now, if these have got a top 5 line, you would expect him to put up 1,400 all-purpose yards, like maybe 1,100 rushing yards, 1,400 all-purpose. You'd expect DJ to have a bigger season, Rome to have a bigger season. If they're using the tight end for actually catching the ball, you'd expect Loveland and Kmet to have good seasons. If you'd expect the step forward from Caleb. If all that happens, yeah, they could win 13 games. It could happen. The probability of it happening, couldn't tell you. It depends on that offensive line. So with the Bears, it's like it's a wait and see with the Bears again this year. Potentially, yeah, the potential is there for them to be an explosive freaking team. But also, what's going on the defensive side of the ball? Have they lost a step? Is the defense going to still be as good? We assume they're going to be a top 10 defense. Are they, though? So, I mean, I would temper my expectations of the Bears. I'm expecting an 8 to 10. Somewhere in there is where I'm thinking they should be. Could they be better than that? For sure. Could they be worse than that? Yeah, it's possible. But I think that's true of almost every team in this division this year. Like, they all have potential to win a lot of games, but they also have holes or question marks where they could lose a bunch. In varying degrees. It's not the same across the board, but yeah.
Yeah. You're definitely not wrong with that one, Dorn.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, Bill. When you were trying to ask questions about something else while we were talking about it. Now that we've talked about it, now you want to talk about it. Come on, Bill, get with the program. Yeah, we talked about quarterback last year or last week. Addison starts his jury trial today, huh, Luca? He's doing a jury trial for this DUI, whatever it was, which is so weird, but
dumbass.
It's because he's got Sal Goodman as a lawyer.
I guess. The Utes. Are these the Utes that are driving the car? He's going to have his my cousin Vinny day. But no, I mean, this division is going to be interesting. So this all goes back, though, to the Poles extension. That's why I agree with the Poles extension. I think he's brought in good players. They've built a good roster. You may not like how they built it, but if they win this year, who cares how they built it? Because if it works, it works. It marries him now to Ben Johnson, who is actually his guy, unlike Eberflus was. That's his guy. So now they're married. So after a year or two, if Ben Johnson doesn't work, if Ben Johnson's one of these guys who's a phenomenal coordinator and shitty head coach, then you're going to fire them both and start over. This is a great country where all we care about is prestige, or whether or not, whether he did the crime or not doesn't matter, but the procedure matters more. I love it.
Man.
You got to do it the right way.
Morning, Nick. Doing good. Survived family this weekend. Woo-woo.
I don't think you had to give him a 5-year extension to tie him to Ben Johnson.
Their contracts end at the same time. So, I mean, it does marry him.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't. I didn't think you had to give him a 5-year extension to do that. Like, because now it's like, let's say they're not. Well, I mean, now they're paying double. Like, so if Ben Johnson in 2 years doesn't work out, he still has 3 years on his contract. So when they fire him, they're paying him for an additional 3 years, and then they're also going to be paying Poles for an additional 3 years. I mean, nice for them to provide a paycheck while.
Well, but think about though, Joe. I mean, these are teams, and look, if the Minnesota Vikings, who are in a smaller market than the Bears, are clearing $1 billion in profit every year, right? What's $5 million to a GM that they fired? It's like they dropped a penny. I mean, so for their bottom line, they have to pay if they were to fire Ben Johnson, and what's after 3 years they fire Ben Johnson and Poles, and they each have 2 years left in their contract, and what's that cost them? $30 million. Like, honestly, it doesn't affect the salary cap. And what's its effect on the bottom line? Like, they lost 2 cents, or they flipped someone a quarter. I mean, that's the thing. Though, for them, the money piece is not as important on that piece as it is with players, because there's no cap on coaches and GMs, and they're still going to be making their $1 billion a year.
Yeah, you still got to cut that check though. Like Mark Davis has, it's been a joke around the league, like how much Mark Davis is paying former coaches. Like, you know what I mean? He's fired so many coaches, and he still owes them. He's still paying them off.
Well,
like,
I think what Lucas says there is a piece too, right? Because I think there's a clause in most of these guys. If let's say you fire them, they get a new job the next year, then you stop paying them. And a lot of these guys go and get another job. I mean, like Vrabel took a year off, so he got that extra year of money. Lovie Smith took a year or so off, so he got the Bears still paid him for a year or two. Sometimes the guys take the year off and get paid. Sometimes they get another job right away. So, I mean,
can you imagine?
It's kind of like what do you like in the military? If you get divorced and your wife gets your ex-wife gets half your retirement check, but the second they get remarried, they don't get that anymore. They lose.
They just don't remarry.
Yeah, so some of them don't remarry. Some of them remarry and they just lose it anyway. So
they call those dependas, don't they?
Dependopotamuses, yes, sir. So ex-coaches become dependopotamuses at that point for a short amount of time, and if they go get remarried, then you don't have to pay them anymore. So I mean, but for teams, man, that piece to them is like that's nothing, because like there is no cap. It affects their bottom line. Sure, they got to pay the guy, but it's not like it's eating their profit margin so much that's okay. So I had to pay a former coach $5 million or whatever how much these guys make a year, or a GM, and that $5 million after I find a big deal for them. That's just cost of doing business. They just write it off anyways.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. Like, I wish like a job that I had gotten fired from had said, "Hey, dude, we're gonna go ahead and continue to send you a check every 2 weeks for the next year." Until you get on your feet again.
I mean, think about it for the Bears though. When they fired Matt Nagy, the next year he would same link every morning. Never mind, Ken sent it to you. Nagy, they fired him the next year. He's a coach again for Kansas City, so the Bears never had to keep paying him. With Eberflus, they fired him. He got picked up right away as a defensive coordinator, so they don't have to pay him. With the last GM that we had, he got fired. He got picked up by Atlanta right away in their front office. So a lot of these guys just get a job right away. Chip Kelly, he got a job right away. Right? I mean, sometimes these guys will take a year off and collect a check, but I would argue that's probably like 80 to 90% of the time, they go get a job elsewhere, and you don't have to end up paying them. Even the GMs, they go get a job in someone's front office. At that point, you don't have to repay them. Now they're getting paid by someone else.
Well, Bill, I feel good about it. Like, did you watch Ohio State last year? Like, their offense was pretty legit, and they had two really good running backs, and they managed to feed them both, and they still managed to get Will Howard drafted, and I mean, Egbuka, like they had a lot of talent on that team, and Chip Kelly knew how to use them all. So I'm excited for that prospect. I think, I'm excited to see what he could do with Genty and Bowers and Jacoby Myers.
Well, I'd like to announce to everybody we have a Woody.
We have Morningwood.
Morningwood, yes, absolutely.
Morningwood.
So Joe, you're psyched about Chip Kelly? You serious?
As my offensive coordinator, yeah. He's not my head coach.
Look, I think he did good at Oregon. Was he
Right.
as a head coach in the NFL? Maybe, but his offense was still pretty good. So I mean, I think for what they had as an offensive coordinator last year, yeah. I mean, I don't think Chip Kelly would be a bad offensive coordinator either. I'm with Joe.
See, that's the thing is like people conflate, like everybody only remembers his time in Philadelphia as the head coach.
And it
Like
really
they
wasn't bad.
conflate the two. Like,
Oh no.
he was a terrible head
it's just
coach.
like McDaniels too, Joe.
Yeah, he was a terrible head coach, but he's a good offensive coordinator. And so if he's not going to be our head coach, yeah, I'm psyched about it. Let him focus on just running the offense because that's what he's best at. And he's he doesn't have the authority to like get rid of any of our players, like so we don't have to worry about another Shady McCoy situation or something like that. Like he has anything that's going to happen like that, he's going to have to run it through Pete Carroll anyway. So
And I think that's where Chip Kelly went wrong as the head coach because he was a good coach. His offense works, his plays work. His personnel decisions were trash. He should have never tried to be the GM. He should have just been a coach. I think he would have been a good coach, but he tried to be a GM too. And I think that's a big jump that guys in college don't get. And college is different. Yeah, you're recruiting high school players and developing them. The NFL is not like that, man. In the NFL, that's why you have your GM. It's a different ballgame, and Chip Kelly failed at that, but it doesn't mean he's a bad coach. And that's like
one
the
thing-
Bears running back coach. I mean, people say, "Oh, the Bears running back coach, who's a terrible head coach." Okay, now he's a running back coach. I expect big things out of the running back coach this year.
And one thing that one thing that makes me kind of psyched about it is they did an interview with Chip Kelly like a few months ago before OTAs started, and they were asking him like, do you have plans to be a head coach again? Is this like your stepping stone back to being a head coach? And he said, no, I have no desire to be a head coach. He's like, well, that's what he said. And
I have
serious.
no desire to receive a free check for $1 million tax free in my mail today either.
Well,
Okay,
he's actually making more than $1 million as the Raiders offensive
No,
coordinator.
you missed the point. Of
Oh
that.
no! I know. It's just
Well, Ken, you do.
The check that's going to be sent to you for that, it's going to be CC'd to me.
I mean, so
Ken, hey, Ken, you get that $1 million a month for military disability.
yeah, I should, right? I mean, but honestly, though, like, look, if Chip Kelly if Chip Kelly does really well and he's offered another NFL head coaching job, of course he'll take it. I hate when that's a bad question. I mean, first off, the reporter asks a stupid question, right? It's a stupid question to ask in a way because, like, it's always a stepping stone to become a head coach because all these guys, their goal is to become a head coach. Now, look
Right.
could he be doing the Ron Marinelli part where Marinelli got his head coaching gig and was terrible at it and said, okay, I just want to be a DC and never do this again? Maybe, right? But let's be honest. Marinelli is the exception, not the rule. All these guys want head coaching jobs. Why? Because they get paid. It's more money, right? And of course, they get to do it how they want to do it. Marinelli might be an exception to that because Marinelli is one of the few DCs who gets to do what he wants to do, and whatever head coach hires him gives him carte blanche, right? So, but I mean, like if Chip Kelly in 2 years got offered a head coaching position, let's say with Arizona or someone, he'd take it in a heartbeat.
Well, I don't know if this is 100% fact, I only remember reading it, but I think Chip Kelly is making $6 million a year to be the Raiders' offensive.
Oh, they make more money now. The good ones are making more money. That's a fact. But still, like if he's making 6, Carroll's making 10, because the head coach is still making more than the coordinators.
Well, Ken, here's a question for you, Ken. If about the offensive coordinators being coaches. I mean, you got to think about Bieniemy. He could have had so many head coaching jobs in the NFL, and he decided to go to college and then back into the NFL as an offensive coordinator again. Who knows if he'll ever take a head coaching when there's a vacancy out there?
Bieniemy might. I mean, I think like some of these guys, they have their head coaching stint. It goes wrong for whatever reason. Some of them are smart enough to realize, okay, I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was, right? Because we all think we're prepared for the new gig. And sometimes you get to the new gig and you get like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Like, I'm not really as ready as I thought it was. And sometimes you can kind of fake it till you make it, right? That happens to all of us. You can fake it till you make it sometimes. Sometimes you just can't. And Bieniemy said, okay, I got to go fix some things. And maybe that's what he's doing. I mean, sometimes there's that introspection that some of these guys do where they figure out I need to fix A, B, or C or a bunch of things and you know, or here are the areas I was weak at. Let me go fix it. So Bieniemy could be in that. Like, could Bieniemy be in Chicago for a year and a head coach next year? Somewhere else for sure. It could happen, especially if the Bears' running game just like is ridiculous this year. If he takes that running back room and all of a sudden, you know, paying $8 million for DeAndre Swift next year looks like highway robbery, right? Because of his coaching. I mean, of course, he'll be talked about for a head coaching position. If there's a situation he likes, he'll take it. I think that's true of most of these guys. I mean, Marinelli's probably one of the few exceptions to that. Like, he's just like, hey, let me just have my defense, do what I want, and people do, and to make a lot of money, and I don't have to deal with the, you know, because like then you get the other side of it, right? Like, as a head coach, you got to deal with the media more. You got to deal with all this other stuff that you didn't have to deal with as a coach or a coordinator. And like Marinelli, I don't think he likes dealing with the media. I don't think he likes dealing with the rest of the circus. He's like, just give me my defense, let me go in my corner, do my thing, and leave me the fuck alone and pay me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you cursed.
But I think Chip Kelly, I mean, he sounded sincere to me. I don't know. Like, he sounded sincere when he was saying, like, you know, I just want to coach players. Like, you know, I'm happy being an offensive coordinator because I just get to focus on position players and skill players, and you know, that's really my cup of tea.
Yeah, there are some guys there that just don't want that added headache of having to run the whole team type
the
of thing.
And everything
to where if I'm the offensive coordinator, I can do exactly what I want to do, coach these guys, and I don't got to sit here and worry about day-to-day operations. Don't got to sit here and stroke the media, all that nonsense that goes with it.
I don't have to work as hard, you know. But let's be honest, though. When you hire a guy to be an OC or DC, I mean, Joe, he said what you want him to say, right? I mean, we'd all want our guy to say that. None of us want to hire an OC that we're excited about and say, hey, so is this a stepping stone for them to come out and say, yeah, I only plan on being here a year or two in Jetton? No one's going to say that. No one's ever going to say that.
If it was more than a year or two, if a guy said, you know, this is a stepping stone in my career and, you know, I'd like to be here like 3-4 years, I wouldn't have an issue with that. Granted, it does suck losing your guys, but it's a part of being successful.
I don't think anyone look. I think fans would be livid even with that. Like, you might be fine with that. I agree with you, but I think the fan base is like, well, why the guy doesn't want to be here forever? We don't want him, because that's how fans are, right? They don't get they don't understand. Fans don't care about the business side. They want these coaches. If they like them, they want them there forever. I mean, look at Ben Johnson. Great example. They love Ben Johnson, Detroit. Ben Johnson says, I'm not going to take a head coaching job. We're going to run it back. And the second he takes a head coaching job, oh, he was a terrible OC. He sucked. He should have never been here to begin with. It should have always been Morton. Oh, he's Benedict Arnold. Oh, he sucked. Blah, 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 blah. He tanked the game. I mean, that's how fans
Arnold.
But so,
well, I think coaches are like the players in the NFL. Like, they're playing for a contract. These coaches are coaching for a contract. So if the coach is gonna be there for 3 to 4 years and he wants to stay a coordinator and that team wants to keep you, you're going to coach your ass off to get that contract. That's how the players are as well.
Mm-hmm. But I think we're missing a key piece here, which is that the Raiders are not in a typical situation because Pete Carroll has a 3-year contract and he's not renewing it, even if he does well. Like Pete Carroll is sort of like he was brought in to sort of right the ship, and then he's going to hand it off to whoever they have in mind.
Pete Carroll's not using the auto pen at the end of 3 years because he's so old.
He's going to be handing. My point is, he's going to be handing over the reins. So if Chip Kelly was to say, I came in as an offensive, well, I don't think he is, because I think he would have said, like, the plan is that Pete's going to come in and right the ship, and then when he takes off, I'm going to take over. Like
I wouldn't. If I were him, I wouldn't say that, because then you kind of drive expectations in a way they'll become like when. If I'm Chip Kelly, if that's a plan, I'm not telling people that's a plan, because then you drive expectations and then you put extra pressures on that you don't need.
Well, if a head coach says that I only plan on staying 3 years and handing the ring, man, you better do good those 3 years. They're gonna fire your ass after 1 or 2.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm like though, like if I'm Chip Kelly though, and let's say Pete Carroll, we know he's only gonna be there for 3 years. I'm not saying this is a stepping stone. I'm saying no, I'm just here to coach, and I'm saying things that he said because I'm thinking in the back of my mind when Pete Carroll retires at the end of 3 years, this is gonna be my job.
And then not only that, is he might not want to say that for the whole reason that Joe had brought up about Chip Kelly not being, the greatest head coach that there has been out there, and there's a lot to be desired with him as a head coach, that this might be a way to buy a little bit of extra brownie points with the fans for the 3 years while you're there, if the plan is for him to take over, versus him just coming right in and saying, oh, yeah, when Pete Carroll's done, I'm going to take over. Then you might have some dissension in the fans.
See, I actually think Patrick Graham has a better shot at the job, the defensive coordinator, because he was already getting interviewed for head coaching jobs last year, and he decided to stay with the Raiders. And Pete Carroll came in and had a chance to hire his own staff, but he kept Patrick Graham. And he kept Patrick Graham's defensive scheme as well. Like he told Patrick Graham basically, like, you get to still run your scheme, So to me, it seems like Patrick Graham is the heir apparent.
Well, glad we could make your work day go better.
I'm not fucking there yet.
Hey,
I was talking to Sarah.
I just had to go rescue a cat.
Okay.
So
from a tree? Watch that disability, buddy.
Yeah, no. In my man cave, I've got the 8-foot long floor display cases, right? And I blocked the windows. And the one window the cats can get in and out of, because cats like to sit on window ledges. The other one, though, is completely blocked. Well, Shadow Bear, my biggest of my 4 cats, he's part Mancoon, decides again to jump in there. And then, of course, when he gets out, they can't get out because the other one that has access, this one, it doesn't. So that's why I was turning my head. I was watching him struggle to try to get out because you can't. It's not easy. So he would get his head up, but then when you get your claws on top, it's glass. So he's got nothing to claw into. It's glass. So he's sliding. And I'm just watching. He's got his little head up there. He's like, so fine. That's why I went over and just kind of picked him up.
Well, if your cats are acting up, Ken, I'd tell him bring him right to the Chinese restaurant.
No, Shadow Bear, he's look at the cat's got to learn just like babies do. Like that's the third time. The other times I've kind of pulled the case out, let him walk out. Nope, this time I let him struggle for a minute, but I'm like, okay, he's gonna pull the curtain and the curtain rod off the wall because he's strong enough to do it. So let me go grab him and pull him out. And now he had that look like he was scared. He had that look like, thank you, my human, for saving me. Because he was like, I'm gonna be stuck in this window forever. Cats gotta learn, man. You gotta love it.
They have 9 lives and 11 lives in that fucking house.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's a good cat. Yeah, I've let the cats in the man cave the last couple of days because Maui was getting like, he needs to have other cat interaction. We'll just put it that way. But
I'll let you dog sit Angel. I'll bring it over with the cats.
Well, my dogs are outside. My dogs have their own little house. They're loving it. They love life. They got their own house that's air conditioned, heated, insulated. Oh yeah, they got the life. But I like what John said here. The Raiders rehired Chucky in 2 years. Wouldn't that be something?
Nah. You know, I met him. I had a flag football game over here where I live. And I played for Lehigh Valley. So I went to Wawa, and everybody is around this guy, and he's like, get away from me and stuff like that. It was fucking it was Chucky. And I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, his kid goes to Lafayette in Pennsylvania here. And he was the biggest fucking cocksucker, but he's a good guy though.
Like only Woody can do. I'm going to insult the guy and compliment him all in the same sentence.
So
very good guy.
In that spirit, we got about less than 10 minutes. About 9 minutes left. All right, players start reporting next week for some of these teams. Rookies, you know, the Hall of Fame game guys report what the whole team is like next Monday. I think for most teams, like rookies will start reporting Monday. Guys, 30 of the 32 second rounders are yet to be signed. When do we start seeing contracts?
One of the Browns guys might have completely screwed that up.
Well, he's number 4, though. He was the 4th overall in the second round. The 3rd in the second round is the guy from Seattle. So if he gets a fully guaranteed, the guy, look at, he can get a fully guaranteed, the 4th round pick guy from Cleveland, yeah, he might not get fully guaranteed, but the other players like, hey, none of us got arrested.
There you go. And especially with what he got arrested for, he probably lost all negotiating power, and there's a good chance they might not let him play this year for it.
But that's only him. It doesn't affect the rest of the guys behind him because of that mitigating circumstance. It still comes down to what Seattle does. Now with the Cleveland second round pick, the other one they need to sign, the other players, like if he doesn't get guaranteed, that changes nothing. Because they'll all say, well, look, because the GM will say, well, Cleveland and give the 34th pick or the 4th second round pick a fully guaranteed contract. And they'll say, yeah, and none of us have gotten arrested for felonies. So that the leverage isn't there for that. It still comes down to what Seattle's going to do with the 3rd overall pick in the second round, and then it'll fall whoever's got the 5th, what I think was New England, if I remember correctly. The Bears are the 9th overall in the second round with Luther Burden the 3rd. So, you know, when do we start seeing these contracts? Dude, it's got to be this week, right? If some of these guys are supposed to be reporting to camp on Monday, a week from Monday, on this coming Monday.
Speaking of that, Ken, Eagle came into my dealership yesterday. I can't even pronounce his name. It's Anojai or something like that. And I just asked him about what do you think about the second rounders that haven't signed yet? He's like, you know what he said? These are greedy fucking little kids. That's all he said.
That's awesome.
This guy, he was a 7th round pick, I think 2 years ago. He was out of Texas. He's not like a golden boy in Philly because nobody is. And I just asked him a couple of those questions. It's a Nojai, it's ONJI or something like that. I have fucking no clue. But that's all he said. These are greedy fucking little kids. That's what he said.
Look, I just did a quick look up, and it's going to take me a minute, so bear with me. But here are reporting dates. Okay, rookie for the Cardinals, rookies and veterans report on the 22nd. So just real quick, the 22nd is a week from today. For the Falcons, it's the 23rd for both. The Ravens, rookies report today. Veterans on the 22nd. The Bills, rookies report today. Veterans on the 22nd. The Panthers, the rookies on the 21st. The vets on the 22nd. The Bears, on the 19th is when rookies report. The 19th is what, Saturday? Saturday. Rookies report on Saturday for the Bears. 22nd for vets. For the Bengals, rookies report the 19th. I'll just do the rookies because that's what's important here. The Browns, they report on the 18th. The Cowboys, everyone's on the 21st. The Broncos, tomorrow is when rookies report. The Detroit Lions, tomorrow is when rookies report. The whole team on the 19th. The Packers, the 18th is when rookies report. The veterans on the 22nd. The Texans, everyone's on the 22nd. The Colts, the 21st and 22nd. The Jags, 19th and 22nd. So look, they're starting to report this week, today, tomorrow.
Hold on a
The
sec, while you
Raiders,
got
they
that-
report on the 17th.
Yeah, while you got that list right in front of you, let me know when the Giants report
Yeah.
because the old man just asked me.
Let me.
They don't have no
the
rookies.
Giants. The Dolphins today, they report. Let me see. The Saints, the Giants. Rookies report today. Veterans on the 22nd. The Jets on the 19th and the 22nd. So look, it's starting today, all the way up to the 22nd seems to be the latest. Rookies are reporting. Veterans are reporting. You got a bunch of 32 second rounders or 30 second rounders who have not signed a contract yet, and they're starting to report today. They can't report. No contract.
Mm-hmm.
So how soon are we going to see these done? I mean, these GMs and these coaches got to be going like, what the hell, guys? We need to get, hey, GM, get this kid signed. I need him on the practice field. The GM's going, look, none of them are signing because of this whole fully guaranteed thing. I can't do anything until Seattle does something, until whoever the guy's in front of me. Because my guy, when I talk to his agent, like, we're waiting to see what happens in Seattle. Get it. I get both sides of the coin here. What's going to happen?
The GMs cannot afford to back down on this because then it's going to set a precedent going forward. Every second round pick from this point is going to get a guaranteed contract.
Yep.
There's too much money out there to lose. They're not going to do it. So these guys are going to end up getting fined.
Report today.
They're going to end up getting fined, and the already meager.
They can't get
Well, I
fined. They're
won't
not
say
under
meager,
contract. You can't find a guy and it's not signed.
You can't fine him for not showing up to camp, even if he's not signed. If he's drafted,
See, in Seattle, I don't think you can.
No.
He's under contract. You have nothing to fine him with. But here's the thing: Seattle rookies in Seattle rookies report today. So maybe we get a signing today, and the ball starts rolling in Seattle because they're the next ones on the clock. Then comes Cleveland. Then I think New England. So I'm assuming the next by Friday, all these guys need to be signed.
these guys are screwing
You got
their own
rookies are
careers.
already reporting today. They are.
These guys are screwing their careers, man.
God, do we really need to expand the roster?
Because it's not even just the fact that you're missing camp. It's that you may not play for this team for your entire career, but now you just set a precedent. Like the whole league is looking at you like, oh, you're that dude that held out as a second round pick, right? Yeah, we're not interested.
What I'm waiting for is a guy like Luther Burden, who's the 9th on the list, to say, you know what? Fuck it. Just give me – I don't need fully guaranteed. Let's go. I'm not missing camp. I'm waiting for one of these guys that maybe – because the inverse could happen. We're all saying we're waiting on Seattle to see what they do with their second-round pick and so on and so forth going down the lane. I'm waiting for some second-round guy to say, you know what? I'm Ozzie Trapillo. I'm at the back of the second round. I'm not getting fully guaranteed. Fuck it. I'm going to sign anyways. If these guys aren't happy with me, my fellow second-rounders – big fucking deal. What does it matter to me if they're unhappy with me? I could care less. And I'm waiting for one of these. So one of the two things is going to happen. A player's going to break ranks, so to speak, and just be like, I'm not missing camp. I'm not going to show up late. I'm signing. And it's going to cascade, or the team is going to, do something. But, I mean, in Seattle, they report today, their second rounder is not going to be at camp because he has yet to sign because he's trying to get a fully guaranteed deal. They've had weeks to work on this. I don't know why they think they should get fully guaranteed. Like, honestly, I get with the GMs. Like, dude, you haven't played a snap yet. We drafted you because we think you have potential. And what other job in the world are you going to get a fully guaranteed contract coming out of college for 4 years? You're not. Even the military isn't guaranteed. That's the closest thing I can think of that you'd come to that's not athletic, right? If you go to the military, you sign a 4-year contract, you figure, I'm going to be in the military for 4 years. Nope. We can chapter your ass out at any time. You can get UCMJ'd out at any time. So it's not a guarantee. So there's nothing in life is guaranteed. The fact that pro athletes get guaranteed contracts is mind-boggling to the rest of the working force. Oh wait,
And on that note, we unfortunately got to end the show here. We want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks for commenting. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Maybe they'll sign by then. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you on X. Drop those comments from X too. Let us see you there.
All right, and have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day.